My name is Natalie Summers, and for 8 years, I believed I had a partner. Not just a boyfriend or a roommate, but someone who stood beside me through everything. The good days and the bad, the small victories and the big dreams. We built a life together. A home with peeling paint and creaky floors, a business that started from scratch, and a future painted with quiet hopes. But looking back now, I see how fragile those years were. Like a glass sculpture sitting on the edge of a shelf, beautiful, but breakable. I never thought he could shatter it. Not me, not us. I remember the mornings we woke up tangled in each other's arms, talking about what the next year might bring. I imagined us growing old, maybe having kids, or finally taking that trip to the coast. I carried him in my thoughts, in my heart, like he was part of me. Yet, beneath the smiles and the "we're okay" lies, there were cracks I didn't notice. The late phone calls that ended when I walked in the room. The silences that felt heavier than words. I ignored them because I wanted to believe. I wanted to hold on to the story we'd written together. That night, everything changed. What I heard shattered my world, but it didn't break me. Not yet. Because sometimes the biggest betrayals hide in the quiet moments. And sometimes the truth waits for you in the dark. It was late, past midnight, when I heard voices in the garage. I wasn't looking for trouble. I was just passing by, drawn by the faint sound of laughter. But it wasn't the kind of laughter that warms your heart. It was sharp, cruel, like knives slicing through years of trust. I stood just out of sight, listening. He was talking to his brother, joking about me. About us, about everything I thought we shared. "She'll never see it coming," he said, the words dripping with satisfaction. "The house goes in my name next week. She'll be gone by Friday." My chest tightened, my breath caught. The woman he was mocking wasn't some stranger. It was me. I wanted to scream, to run in and confront him. But I couldn't move. I was rooted in place, frozen by shock and disbelief. How could the man I loved, my partner, my equal, be planning my disappearance like a secret I didn't even know I was part of? There was no warning, no hints, no "we need to talk" moments, just laughter and cold calculation. The betrayal was like ice running through my veins, numbing me, yet setting fire to every hope I'd held on to. And in that moment, I realized I had been invisible to him all along. Not just unseen, but erased. Erased from his plans, erased from his future. I wasn't just hurt. I was blindsided. But I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I didn't make a scene. Instead, I made a choice. I stood there in the shadows, heart pounding so loud I thought he might hear it. But the world around me had slowed, like time itself was holding its breath. I couldn't move. I couldn't speak. I wasn't sure if I even wanted to. The man I loved, the man I trusted, had just decided I was nothing more than a hurdle in his plan. A problem to be erased. The life we built, the nights we shared, the dreams we whispered, all just smoke and mirrors, but the tears I thought would come, they didn't. The anger that I expected, it simmered beneath the surface, cold and focused. I realized something terrifying and beautiful at the same time. If I wanted to survive this, I couldn't let him see me break. So, I swallowed the lump in my throat, pushed down the hurt, and let my mind begin to work, quietly, calmly, methodically, no shouting, no crying, no begging, because I had a plan to make, one he'd never see coming. In the silence of that garage, while he plotted my disappearance like a secret mission, I made a silent vow. I would protect myself, not with noise or fury, but with quiet strength. With every piece of paper, every signature, every ounce of resolve I could muster. He thought I was invisible. But he was wrong. I was still here, and I was already fighting back. That night, I became a shadow in my own life, moving quietly, deliberately, like I was slipping through cracks he hadn't even noticed. I made copies of every document, everything I could get my hands on without raising suspicion. Bank statements, business papers, deeds, contracts. Every piece of paper was a weapon. I found a lawyer I could trust, someone who understood the delicate balance between fight and discretion. I didn't want a war fought in the open. I wanted a war he would never see coming until it was over. Slowly, I transferred my shares of the business into my name alone, closed joint accounts, put the deed to the lake house back under my maiden name, quiet, legal, unstoppable. Each small move was a stitch in the armor I was building around myself. No yelling, no accusations, just cold, steady action. At the same time, I rented a new apartment, somewhere that wasn't our home, somewhere just for me, where I could breathe, plan, and get ready for what was coming. I wasn't running away. I was preparing to disappear from the life he thought he controlled. He thought he held all the cards. But I was quietly rewriting the rules, and when the time came, I would be ready. By the time Friday rolled around, I was gone, not with a bang or a dramatic farewell. No tears, no shouting matches, just silence. I walked out of the house we built together, not as the woman he thought he knew, but as someone reborn, someone invisible no more. I changed the locks the night before, so when he came home, the door wouldn't open for him. I stripped the house of its value to him. Documents, valuables, my belongings, all carefully taken or secured. It was a quiet vanishing act, but it carried the weight of 1,000 storms. I moved into my new apartment, the keys cold and unfamiliar, in my hand, but my heart felt lighter than it had in years. In the quiet, I allowed myself to breathe, to feel the sting of betrayal and the power of survival. He didn't know I was gone until he tried the locks. And then, panic. That's when the calls started. The silence was the loudest thing in the world. He came home, expecting the life we built together to still be waiting, our home, our stuff, our future. But the locks didn't turn. The house was empty of everything he thought belonged to him. He was furious, confused, panicked. I could hear it in his voice when he finally called. "Where are you?" he demanded. And I told him quietly, "Where you left me, invisible." No more explanations, no more chances. I didn't answer his questions. I didn't offer him a window back in, because in that moment, I was free. Free from the lies, the secrets, the plans made behind my back. He realized, too late, that everything he planned to steal was already out of his reach. He had underestimated me, and I had taken back everything he thought he had. His voice trembled. On the line. Not with sorrow or regret. No, it was panic, desperation. "Where are you?" he asked again. But this time there was something more. A crack in his armor. I didn't need to explain. I simply said, "Where you left me. Invisible." He was speechless, and I could hear the chaos beneath his calm words. Threats whispered, through clenched teeth. Lawyers invoked, attempts to scare me into submission, but I was ready for all of it. Every lawyer he hired, every threat he threw my way, bounced off the fortress I built around myself. He thought he was taking everything, but he forgot to count on me. I didn't just leave the marriage. I walked away with my dignity intact, with my assets protected, and most importantly, with my voice. The silence on his end of the line was louder than any argument. He wanted control. He wanted power, but I took it back, piece by piece, quietly, methodically. And the woman he thought he could erase? She was stronger than he ever imagined. He brought lawyers, letters filled with legal jargon, threats to drag me through court until I was bankrupt and broken. But I had prepared for this. Every move I made was airtight. Every asset I owned was shielded by law, by careful planning, by quiet resilience. I didn't flinch when the threats came. I didn't respond with anger or fear. Instead, I listened. I stayed calm, and I kept my eyes on what mattered: my freedom, my future, my dignity. His attempts to scare me fell flat because I wasn't the scared girl anymore. I was the woman who had been erased and erased again, but who had found her voice in the silence, the court hearings, the paperwork, the back and forth. It all became a battlefield, but one where I was armed with more than just legal documents. I had truth on my side, and the strength to rebuild from nothing. Through it all, I held on to myself. The part he tried to destroy but couldn't touch. He wanted to win, but I refused to lose. Because some battles aren't won with noise. They're won with quiet, unbreakable will. I didn't just survive that nightmare. I rebuilt myself from the ground up. Walking away from that marriage wasn't the end of my story. It was the beginning of a chapter I controlled. For the first time in years, I woke up every morning feeling like I was truly me. Not a shadow or an afterthought, but a woman who owned her life. The business we'd built, the lake house, the savings, all of it was legally mine now. But more than that, I carried something even stronger inside me: my dignity, my voice, and a quiet power that no betrayal could take away. Healing wasn't easy. Some days the wounds felt too deep, and the weight of what had happened threatened to pull me under. But with every scar, every tear I allowed myself, I grew stronger. I learned that strength isn't about yelling the loudest. It's about standing firm when no one's watching. I rebuilt routines that reminded me who I was. I made new friends who saw me, really saw me. I took small steps toward the life I wanted, one that was free from lies and betrayal. And with each step, the woman who once felt invisible became more real, more solid. He was silent now. No more calls, no more threats, no more attempts to claw back what he'd lost. Because he knew deep down, he'd underestimated me from the start. And while he was busy trying to hold on to control, I was busy letting go of the past and reclaiming my future. I'm no longer the person I was when this all began. I'm stronger, wiser, and fiercely alive. Because sometimes, the greatest power comes from the courage to walk away and the strength to never look back. I remember the first morning I woke up alone in my new apartment, the sunlight spilling through the windows, the quiet hum of the city outside. It was strange and beautiful all at once. No longer bound by the shadows of betrayal or the weight of broken promises, I finally felt a peace I hadn't known in years. This wasn't just a fresh start. It was a declaration. A statement that I was done being invisible, done being erased, done living a life scripted by someone else. The woman who once felt powerless had found her voice, and it was louder and clearer than I ever imagined. Sure, the road ahead wasn't perfect. Healing isn't linear. Some days the memories still sting like fresh wounds, and the silence in my apartment can feel heavy. But every step forward, no matter how small, is a victory. I've learned that strength isn't about being unbreakable. It's about getting up again and again, even when it feels impossible. I've built new routines, moments of quiet reflection, laughter with friends who truly see me, and dreams that belong solely to me. I'm reclaiming not just my assets and my life, but my identity. And for the first time in a long time, I'm excited about the future. He's silent now, his threats and schemes reduced to nothing but echoes. Because he never realized that true power isn't about control, it's about freedom. I'm free. Free to live, to love, to dream on my own terms. The past will always be part of my story, but it no longer defines me. I'm writing the next chapter with courage, strength, and a voice that will never be silenced again. Because sometimes, the most powerful thing you can do is disappear and then come back stronger than ever.